Have you figured out your rates? Right, but if you're booking with these other people, what are they getting paid? The person who does the booking should get a booking fee. Because it's no joke to have to take the time to deal with the contracts and to deal with the client, and you should get, it's almost as if you're taking a cut in pay if you're doing that extra work and you're not taking a booking fee. In my opinion, it's just not, it's not no work. I mean, you could do it 10 to 20%. I mean, I've seen as much as 30%, which I think is high, but 10 to 15% I think is very reasonable. And if you're just starting out, you could say, well, I want to do 10% for 6 months, but then 15%. But the thing is, they could all book as well. And if they book, they take that off the top and then you split the rest of it. You can do that. Although another way to do it is if you also have a fire safety, you can do the total gross income minus the X percentage booking fee, minus if you have a fire safety, the fire safety fee, and then split the rest between the artists. So what that means is you guys have to account for that when you're booking the gig. If you have 2 artists dancing for 2 songs each, which is 4 songs total, which is probably a 12 to 15 minute show, depending on how long your songs are. I wouldn't recommend much more than 3 minutes an artist if you guys are not very experienced artists. And if you're booking that and you're getting $150 per artist for the 2 songs, that's $300. Plus, you need to have on top of that whatever your booking fee is, and then on top of that, you need to have your safety person's fee as well. So you need all of that on top of it. And then I would also, if it were me and I was trying to be really cool about the whole thing, I would also make sure there was a fuel fee on top of that so that your fuel was covered, because fuel is not cheap. Well, you probably should figure out 20 miles from where. Unless if you guys are all local to each other, like you should figure out a point on the map, and that way you can use an app to figure out what the fair mileage is, and then nobody is upset about it. I mean, as my coach likes to say, make agreements in times of clarity so you have them to fall back on in times of upset. The more clear your agreements are up front, the easier it is to remain friends with all of the people that you're working with. Even if it's a professional relationship, you want to be friendly with these people, and it can be very difficult to remain friendly if you don't have clear agreements and people are like, but I thought you said, get it all in writing. Make sure you get, even if nobody signs a piece of paper, make sure people respond to an email saying, yes, I agree to these terms. Yes, let's work together. Yes, let's do it. And then I think it's also important, if you're building a brand, that you're really clear about who owns the brand. I never booked artists under independent names. I always booked it under Templeofpoi. So they were actually booking under my brand, but I was getting the gigs for them. So, that was part of the deal. And if the brand is whatever your brand is, you want it so that you own the brand if someone leaves your troupe. Like if this is your troupe and you're spearheading it, you want to make sure you retain ownership of the intellectual property that you have managed, which at this point may not be very much because you're starting out, but as you build your brand and as you have more gigs, I mean, at some point in time, you might have a Yelp page. And if you have a Yelp page, then you have Yelp reviews. And if you have Yelp reviews, that's associated with your brand, not them as artists. Unless their names get specifically mentioned in the review. But even still, it's associated with your brand.